stars are aligning, as they always seem to do.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that the day you were today, for example, was joy. You know, we just sang a song about having joy on our face.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, the second principle today is basically what my talk is about. So there you are.
Wow.
So I'm going to start with a little music, some violin for those of you that wanted it,
Yeah.
and just take this in, have a little. It's kind of a meditative song, and if we choose to, and I might do this, we might do our own meditation song from using the chorus of this. And if you feel free to join me in the chorus as well, it's really easy, and you'll be able to pick it up and sing along with me. So. Seek the truth of who we are, beyond the skies, beyond the stars. The place inside is more than enough. It's treasure, it's gold, unlimited stuff. We are beauty, we are kind, we are golden goodness to be mined. We create who we are. What we do now can take us so far. I am, you are, they are, we all are, living in the light of God, living in the light of God. Living in the light of God, living in the light of God. I am, you are, they are, we all are, living in the light of God. Living in the light of God, living in the light of God, living in the light of God. Find the light in who we be, deeper, wider than the sea, in the heart and everywhere, showing the world a self so rare. We find freedom, we find peace, we have the strength to find our ease. We believe in who we be. Releasing the past will set us free. I am, you are. I have, you are, they are, we all are, living in life, God, living in life, God, living in life, God, living in life, God, living in life, God. That's my message. Pretty much, right? In a nutshell. That's the message of it. Unity. So we'll do it again. No. No. We're not gonna do it. So when I sent my blurb in the other day, this is what I wrote. You are loved. You are enough. Indeed, you are needed for exactly who you are. Each of us has the divine spark within them and the capacity for connection to the larger divine. If there's a larger divine, it's everywhere. There is a reason that you are here, and it's time for us to shine as bright as we can and to lose this learned sense of limitation, the one that restricts us from being exactly who we are. For us to be the beacon of hope within a darkened world. You know, we have a pretty kind of big responsibility, I think, being who we are and where we are, right? We are enough just as we are, and at the same time, the truth is that we are so much stronger together. Together, our hearts are amplified as we become a host of angelic beings with our uniquely individual voice and our collective song. And you're going to find out in the meditation a little bit more about that too. You're going to experience what that feels like. So in May, Paula and I went to see the concert of a young man from England, Jacob Collier, who I'm introducing you all to today. Although he's 28, and he's already a 5-time Grammy Award winner with 4 more nominations, including Record of the Year last year when Taylor Swift won. So he was in that category, and yet a lot of people don't know him, but a lot of musicians know this guy. So we went to his world tour for his 3rd album. He's it's actually his 4th album, but he's labeled his albums Jesse, D-J-E-S-S-E, and there's a story behind that. I don't know what it is, but they're all 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we saw the world tour for 3. And I'm sure he's got 4 already ready because everything got delayed by the pandemic. And so we ended up with some tickets to DC that we ordered like 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Wow.
Right? And when we heard he was coming, he's from England, from North London, and his mother was one of the music teachers at my high school. And is actually featured in some of his videos. She's a violinist. So he has an interesting background, and I likened him to a modern day Mozart. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Mozart, who created so much more than he should have done in his short life. He died when he was 32, correct? 32 or 33? 32, I think. And I hope that doesn't happen with Jacob Collier, because there's so much that he's creating right now and hopefully way deep into the future. We have these examples through history, through time, where you have these standout people, geniuses, that just pop up as if from nowhere, seemingly. You know, I'll name a few of them. Some of them are still alive, and some they're in different fields and that sort of thing. but all of them I think are names that we know. Marie Curie, right? And Albert Einstein. I'm going to say Elon Musk and Nikolai Tesla, and the world of that creativity and development of technology. Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and then we have some sports stars that pop their heads up and shine their light as bright as possible that could ever possibly be done. So Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, and I'm going to say Tiger Woods too. Now, all of these people, well, what makes them stand out? Just let's have some info. What makes them stand out?
They were the best at what they did.
They are the best at what they do.
They're natural leaders.
They are natural leaders, yeah.
Or dedicated to what they were doing.
Yeah. I feel like when you say they're natural leaders, I agree with you. They I think though that it's the inspiration of them being their full selves that brings forward that leadership. Yeah, it does put them in a place of being able to talk to and send a message out to the world too. And I think a lot of them have a message behind what they're doing. So I think that one of the main things is they have the most them that they could possibly be. And I think that if we look at it in the right context can give us a way of being for ourselves. Now, was it easy for them to become who they were and who they are? Let's talk about Tiger Woods for a second. He's had some struggles. He used to hit, they say, 10,000 balls a day, and that's a lot. I mean, no wonder he's had back problems now. You know, in his later years, in his what is he now in his 40s, maybe early 40s or 30s still. You know, when he started having problems. You know, and he would do before a tournament day would start. They say he would do 3,000 balls before he would even hit a ball in a tournament. I remember actually a time when I saw in the newspaper that he was beginning to hang out with ex-sports stars like Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal and some of those folks, and I thought, that's interesting, because he started focusing elsewhere, and he stopped focusing on his main thing, which was his golf. Nelson Mandela. Now, there's somebody that definitely didn't have it easy through his life. But what he did was, I feel he kept a positive and unbreakable spirit, even when it seemingly would have been far easier for him to be left broken by what happened to him in his life. I can't remember how long he was in prison, but it was a long time.
Yes.
And it wasn't a pleasant experience in South Africa, I'm sure. Nikolai Tesla, he wanted to share electricity with people all over the world for free. And he was brought to his knees by some of the industries that didn't want to share anything for free. His creative mind seemed so advanced for his time. And of course, we've all heard of Edison with his thousands of light bulbs that were failures, but each one that didn't work wasn't a failure in his mind. It was a way he further refined the solution for his challenge until he made the light bulb work. Now, most of these folks too were thought of, or are thought of, as slightly weird, unusual, eccentric at the very least. Yeah, and often kind of crazy, nuts. You know, you see these the way Nikolai Tesla was considered. Sometimes that's a story put out, I think, by the people, you know, the people that don't necessarily want him to succeed in what he was doing. But also, I think it's a way for us sometimes to kind of make excuses for ourselves, because we see those folks as being different than us, different, weird, unusual. They're just, some crazy mad scientist genius that we would never be. We could never be that kind of thing. When we look at these folks, they can be inspiring, and we can also kind of turn it back on giving ourselves an excuse, a way out from not doing what we can do in this world. Do we feel now? There's a couple of things I was going to say. So they all had failures, but one thing none of them did was give up. Sometimes in the face of unsurmountable odds, they kept on going. Now, do we feel like we have achieved enough with our lives? Done enough? This is a question for me. All these talks that I do always reflect back on me. And if you guys have ever done talks, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Perhaps they are different to us outside of who we are. Maybe they deserve it more than we do. Maybe they were just lucky. And we say to ourselves, it's too late for me, right? I wasn't brought up in the right place or the right time, with the right parents, with the right education. Maybe I should just give up. This music thing is too hard. Right?
You've never said that.
Did I just say that like 2 weeks ago? And we give up on our dreams. Give up on any thought that we could change the world, that I could change the world. Not necessarily any big way, but in the way that we can. And the truth is about these great humans who have graced our planet, the ones we look up to and get inspired by, is that they are different to us. They are the most them that they can be. And at the core of that is we are all individual. We're all different from each other. It took them a lot of work to become who and what they became. It wasn't an overnight success for any of them. Certainly wasn't without challenge or struggle. It wasn't without consistency and persistency. Right? We're going to keep on going. Well, if we're to take inspiration from those folks, we can look at how they keep on going. We live in a world now, though, that seems to show us time and again as examples of people that become overnight successes, right? America's Got Talent, right? Actually, I went down and auditioned for America's Got Talent. And I know personally how much I've grown since then, which was 4.5 years ago. And I know that I would be more prepared now than I was then to do that. I always think of the film August Rush, and actually I saw do you remember August Rush? It's about the young kid who, he sees a guitar, picks it up, and all of a sudden he can play the guitar without even, working ever. It's like, and we see all these examples of overnight success, instant success, without the work. And we love to hear that myth repeated. And I think part of that is that it softens the world for us. It makes it easier for me not to be the best me that I can be. Maybe it'll happen someday, or if I'm in the right place, if I'm lucky. But the truth is that we need to, that's comforting, right? But the truth is that it takes work. I've seen so many examples of those overnight successes, and if you dig a little further, the truth is that normally an overnight success takes about 10 years.
Yeah.
At least.
Of work.
I remember there's a band we went to see them just after we got married. Snarky Puppy, which is a cool name, and they were an overnight success. But if you look back at the 10 years of videos that were on YouTube, where they were playing in people's basements, that's how they got their overnight success after 10 years and got nominated for Grammys and that sort of thing. So we look at these big people, these like amazing people so far out of our experience. You know, the Einsteins and the Mother Teresas and these, you know, these exceptional humans that have lived. We have this huge testimony in one of the best-selling books of all time about Jesus Christ, Yeshua, who is that shining light of example for all of us, right? But I think we probably, if we look a little closer, have probably all had experiences of the little heroes in our life. Is that true? If we look on, you know, in our world, a teacher that touched our life, a relational friend that did something amazing, maybe somebody who lives with a body that you wouldn't expect for them to be able to do what they do in this world. You know, a body that wouldn't necessarily support all that they get done. Is there anybody that you know that is a hero in their own way? Somebody who keeps showing up maybe in an exceptional way or with remarkable consistency over and over and over and over again. Someone incredibly creative or organized. It can be so many because we're all these individual sparks. Although we have the essence of the divine in us, like the second principle, the truth is that we're all coming to this from a different experience. And what was it about them that make or still makes them stand out? So we're going to do a little exercise right now. We've got some pencils, pens, whatever, and just hand those out. And you've got sheets, because I gave you all lyrics. If you need a sheet of paper, just write on the back of that. And this is a quick exercise. You can do a much longer, extended version of this. But right now, I want you to think of one person, one of those big, famous people that most people would know of, and is like a hero, personal hero to you. So one person who is like maybe somebody that you would love to have met or would like to meet, somebody that kind of stands out for you. So I'll give you a few seconds just to think about that. Maybe it's somebody in your field. Maybe we wouldn't know who they are. Maybe it's Hugo Ma for the cellist. Right? Now, when you thought of that person, I want you to put down 3 things that make them special in your mind. 3 things that give them the essence of who they are and how they show up in this world. I'm going to say this is normally 6 names. We're going to do 2 today. 2 people. They don't. The second one I just know, you know. You can think of more than 3, but just let's kind of think of at least 3.
So we're doing
3 things, characteristics of this famous person or exceptional person. You can do this at home as well. Everybody got something? Yeah? Somebody? All right, now let's think of that local, I'll call it them a local hero. Like somebody in your life that touched your life. Maybe it was a teacher or a coach or somebody in this room. Somebody that inspires you. Maybe somebody who's against all odds, still there, you know, and still doing something special. And then 3 characteristics. 3 things that make them special in your mind. All right. So does who's got a name they would like to share for the first name? You know, the big person that most folks would probably know, or you would know from maybe your career or your work. That kind of thing. Anybody? Should we- Maya Angelou. There's a Unity person right there.
That
didn't
was
know-
mine too.
Really? There you go. It's like one room, the same person. Isn't that incredible? Yeah, she trained as a Unity minister.
She did.
I didn't know that.
So somebody else?
I was gonna say Oprah Winfrey.
Okay, cool. What about
Oh, no, thank you.
you? Okay. All right. Well, let's. So, what was it about? Let's take Oprah Winfrey. What is it about Oprah Winfrey? For
Sorry.
you, what is it about Oprah Winfrey that makes her special in your mind?
Really,
Of 3 top
her ability
characteristics.
probably to connect on a global scale. She was one of the first people that did those big giveaways
Mm-hmm.
and was always looking for ways to share her resources.
Mm-hmm.
And it became a thing, you know.
Mm.
Now a lot of, I mean, it's probably been done in the past, but now it's a popular thing to do.
What about Maya Angelou for you?
Well, I think the thing I most admire about her is that she is willing to completely be herself.
Okay.
And she
Yeah.
stands strong,
Mm-hmm.
and she's so openly creative. I admire that a lot. You know, in whatever way it expresses, she just expresses. You know.
All right, so has anybody ever done this exercise before? So at some point, the challenge is now I'm going to reveal what the exercise reveals. Okay, so at some point, if you can kind of take your mind back to a point of not knowing this, because it does get in the way a little bit, if you can do the exercise with maybe your top 6 people that you'd like to meet or feel an inspiration in your life, and then write down a few words for them and a few key things, the things that really stand out. Those things that really stand out are your traits. So read your traits again.
Strong, completely herself, and openly creative.
There you go.
Mm.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what
I would
so
say
that was going to be my next part of this was to talk about the expression of recognizing that in other people. So what did you say? You said some about
Her ability to connect
connect.
uh, with large groups of people.
Yeah, I don't know if they're global yet, but there may be something
Someday,
there.
yeah, there you
there
go,
may
I'll
be
be
something
YouTube
there.
thing.
Mhm.
And then her generosity,
Generosity.
open, yeah, looking for ways to be more generous.
Is that pretty
It's
accurate?
so her.
Isn't this
It's all
amazing?
That I
you.
can relate.
So
Yeah.
if you want to take the time at some point to do your 6 people, then you can really discover a lot about who you are and the who you are in reality. So it's so cool. So I call that the hero exercise. And so are you a hero? Maybe you are a hero in your own way and you don't even know it, right? So you expressed some things about you and you said, oh, that's you, right? Same thing with Christine then. So like, that's you, that's exactly who you are. So you are an inspiration to someone in a way that you weren't even aware, right? And we live this inspirational life and we don't even know that we're the inspiration. So we've already skipped to the next part of the exercise that I was going to give you, and that is to express that there are people right here in this room that are inspirations to you. So when you see something in somebody else and see who they are, then let them know every now and again, because and not all the time, because that then becomes it's pat and it doesn't mean as much anymore. But take a time to tell them how much they touch your life in a positive manner, with a deep moment of, I'm going to say sincerity, but my auto spell changed it to serenity, which I that's like fantastic. So with a deep moment of sincerity or serenity, and as we express those things to the folks, we're creating community, we're creating togetherness, right? But we're lifting each other up, and as we do that, we lift up humanity. When we go out and we see somebody do good service, give us good service, or do something fine for us, or you see somebody who's sitting by themselves and you go and speak with them and you become the hero in that moment, we are lifting each other up and we're creating something special. And that's responsibility, I think, of those folks that know. And in Unity, if you don't know, I just told you, so now you know. So there's no excuses. Back to Jacob Collier. So we saw him twice in 3 days. We actually had these tickets for DC. I'm so glad we saw him twice, I've got to say. We had a ticket for DC, because that's kind of our closest place. And that we'd had for a long time. Then when it actually came up that he was going to be on tour, I decided to, as a Christmas present, because we don't like doing a lot of like things for people, because things just clutter people's houses, right?
Right.
So for our kids, we actually, and Paula, my spouse, I decided that we would have an experience. So bought tickets for 5 of us in Charlotte.
Mhm.
Yeah, but our 2 sons, my daughter, and her girlfriend. That's it, and you and me, right? And it's funny that your 2 daughters, Paula's 2 daughters in Richmond, it was going to be difficult for them to get to Charlotte, which is where we saw the first of the 2 concerts. After the first concert, we got the full experience. Unfortunately, with the second one, wherever Jacob Collier went, he either had to upgrade his venue size because he was so popular, or they did, in a few places like DC, they did 2 concerts.
Wow.
And we got shuffled to the early concert, and he had to like squeeze everything in and quickly, so to get onto the later concert where he was going to do the full experience, you know. So we kind of missed out a little bit on the DC thing, but nobody else knew they missed out who, hadn't been to another Jacob Collier concert. They were all happy. So, and when we got there, we were one of the first few in and right by the front in DC, this is in DC, there was a lady who came in, and we were all, we're waiting and talking to each other. A lot of people are musicians there. He's very popular with musicians. And so I turned to this lady and said, "Are you a musician?" She said, "No, I'm not. And I said, "Are you a singer?" And she said, "No, I never sing. Nobody's ever going to hear me sing." And and little did she know, what happened was, so she said she was there with a friend, so she was just supporting them. Now,
Asking for a friend.
Jacob Collier, and she didn't know his music either. So Jacob Collier has a way of inspiring, encouraging, and enthusing everyone around to join in with singing. And she sang with everyone else. Yeah. I've watched some really interesting videos on people who've gone through either near death or, I'm going to say, post-death experiences. Has anybody ever watched those sorts of things? Yeah. And several have talked about these like amazing angelic voices, and like the sweetest music that you've ever heard. Voices kind of joining together to create the finest harmony and unexpressible. Like these are sometimes I've watched one with a musician who, he can still hear that sound, but he can't write it down because it's so otherworldly. So Jacob Collier, this inspirational young man, conducts his audiences. He'll give you notes like this third and then this and there, and he'll give you different notes, and he'll raise this one up, and he'll bring in the balcony, and they'll be singing one, and he'll be, bringing everybody in and out on different notes, and they sing with complete freedom. It's amazing. It's amazing. What you see is like, if we were unlimited, that expression that is done through the voice is what we could express with our very being. So, it's a crescendo of unity in harmony at the same time. Just egoless voices coming together in an amazing sound where hearts of joy, there's that word again, are amplified as they become hosts of angelic beings. That's what it sounds like. That's what it seems like. Each individual and unique voice, like there is not two people in that building, wherever it is, or even around the country. He says in a video that I actually appear on, which is as one like tiny little square above Charlotte, above the two T's in Charlotte. He said, "Thank you to the 100,000 voice choir that has joined me on this tour."
Right.
And not two of those voices are the same, but together they're blending in the momentary creation, because he does this in the moment. There's some thought behind it. I didn't know. So I'll tell you about the video that I'm featured in, amongst many other people. So what he did was he went around the country, like conducting these choirs of audience members, and what he had already planned was that was going to be the basis for a song, "Can't Help Falling in Love," which in each place that he visited, 31 cities, I guess he chose 31 because there's 31 words that he needed. Incredible. He got everybody to sing into their phone one word, and then from that he put maybe 150 people, he chose about 100 people or whatever from each place and put them together over the chords and the harmony that he had created with these choirs of people in different places. One thing you got to know about Jacob Collier is he has perfect pitch as well. So it helps for something, an experience like that. So each individual and unique voice joining together and blending in this momentary creation of heaven on this earth. That's how it seems in a moment, with the freedom that we all have. Paula's not a singer, but she's becoming one, and part of that is the opening up of Jacob Collier and what he's given her. She was told by her family that we don't sing, you know, right? We don't sing. I mean, you know, she grew up in a situation where much more traditional in religion. You probably sang hymns and things, right? Or-
Yes, but my mom said that she couldn't sing, and like that we couldn't sing either.
Yeah, so it was like
Just mouth the
predetermined.
words,
right?
Yeah. It was predetermined. So yeah, you know all those like I'm the total opposite of the spectrum. My parents told me to stop singing because I sang all the time. Sang, God, it was too much. So anyway, so the vibration of the air passed over the vocal cords to the ear. This is like physics, right? But it's so much more than physics, and it goes straight to the transcendent heart. Another JC, not Jacob Collier, Jesus Christ, taught us that these and greater things can you do, can we all do. So that's the message today. You were born to do something, to be an inspiration, to be exactly who you are and who you were born to be. So as we go into meditation, we're going to do kind of a